Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And today I brought with me both of the Melody Beatty books. I was just kind of glancing through the meditations for today. I hadn't read from them yet to see what they were about, and I liked both of the titles and the first couple sentences of them. So I thought, I think I'm going to read from these today. As if I would probably not, because these are my favorite books of life. These are my favorite meditation books. And I love when people comment in the comment section below and they're like, I bought these books because I love when you read them and they've helped me so much, and they have helped me so much as well. And there's so many meditation books out there to pick from, you know, and I always tell people, if you're looking for great meditation books, one place to look is Hazelden, H-A-Z-E-L-D-O-N. H-A-Z-E-L-D, Hazelden. I think it's H-A-Z-E-L-D-O-N. Anyway, and at one point, that was kind of like the hub of recovery centers in our country, and they have lots of meditation books. Most of them are, you know, 12-step and recovery-based, but a lot of them are about emotional sobriety and women in sobriety, men in sobriety, you know, self-esteem, things like that. And I have many meditation books from Hazelden. You can also just go to the bookstore. You can also look on Google and just look up positive affirmation books or daily affirmation if you're looking for good books and just kind of, you know, things that will, you know, that pique your interest. There's also ones that are like, you know, daily angel readings. I know that there's those kind of things out there, like daily angel reading cards that you can pick, and all kinds of stuff. You can go to like spiritual stores, you can go to religious stores if those are things that you're looking for, or churches sometimes have them. But anyway, I have all different kinds of meditation books. If you guys would be interested in me doing a video at some point over here, showing you like almost all of the meditation books. I probably have 20 or 30 of them, showing you all the meditation books that I have, which also include my mom's that she, you know, left me. I would be more than willing to do that because there's so many of them, and so many of them have helped me in different ways. So I also, during the month of October, I said that I was going to start doing recovery videos over here. So I would really like some help if you could put in the comment section below, what are some topics that you would like to hear me talk about as far as recovery or addiction or whatever. I'm willing to talk about whatever. And even if there's just 2 people that comment in the comment section below and say, I'd like to hear you talk about this, or I'd like to hear you talk about that, maybe I'll just pick one of those and I'll make a video talking about that. And that's how, you know, I'll start. I will make it very obvious in the title of the video that that's what I'm going to be talking about. So if I'm going to be doing a video, you know, that's going to be about, specifically about blackouts, I will put that in. I'm not going to make it real ambiguous so that you guys are watching a video and then halfway through you're like, oh, he's talking about blackouts and I don't need to know anything about this. I will make it very clear from the title so that you guys know. I said that when I talked about how I was going to start doing recovery videos over here. So anyway, let me know in the comment section below if you'd like to see a video of me talking about all of my meditation books or affirmation books, and also let me know what topics you would like me to cover as far as addiction and recovery videos. Okay, I think I'm going to read, because I was like looking through them and I was like, if I only get to one meditation today, which is my favorite, or which one is piquing my interest more, and I think that this is from The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty. I liked the topic more in this one. So let's get into this. October 7th. October 7th, letting go of naivete. We can be loving, trusting people and still not allow ourselves to be used or abused. We don't have to let people do whatever they want to us. Not all requests are legitimate. Not all requests require a yes. Life may test us. People may seek out our weak spots. We may see a common denominator to the limits that are being tested in our life. If we have a weak spot in one area, we may find ourselves tested repeatedly in that area by family, friends, coworkers, and neighbors. Life, people, our higher power, and the universe may be trying to teach us something specific. When we learn that lesson, we will find that problems with that area dwindle. The boundary has been set. The power has been owned. For now, the lesson has been learned. We may need to be angry with certain people for a while, people who have pushed our tolerance over the edge. That's okay. Soon we can let go of the anger and exchange it for gratitude. These people have been here to help us learn about what we don't want, what we won't tolerate, and how to own our power. We can thank them for what we have learned. How much are we willing to tolerate? How far shall we let others go with us? How much of our anger and intuition shall we discount? Where are our limits? Do we have any? If we don't, we're in trouble. There are times to not trust others, but instead trust ourselves and set boundaries with those around us. Today I will be open to new awareness about the areas where I need healthier boundaries. I will forego my naive assumption that the other person is always right. I will exchange that view for trusting myself, listening to myself, and having and setting healthy boundaries. Okay, I love this meditation because this is a lesson that took me a really, really long time to learn, and I don't even know that I have fully learned it yet. But also interesting on the heels of a documentary that I just watched last night. So Alex and I were sitting here and we were watching TV the other night. We were watching The Real Housewives, and an ad came on for a new show that's going to be on Hulu. It actually started already. I think 3 or 4 episodes are already out, and it's called Friend of the Family. And it's by the producers of Candy, and I loved the show Candy with Jessica Biel. I thought it was done so well. And so I was like, what is this? I want to watch it. And I was talking to my friend Tanya that night, and she said, oh, I think that show is based on the documentary Abducted in Plain Sight that's on Netflix. And I was like, I think I watched part of that documentary, and I couldn't get into it because it just was so bizarre and weird. And I just felt so bad for, like, the girl that was at the core of it, right? And so Tanya started telling me a little bit more about it, and I went and looked. And it was interesting because I had started watching it and I had gotten like 30 minutes into it, and then I hadn't watched any more of it. So last night I watched the rest of it. And if you don't know what the documentary is about, it's about this girl that she is abducted not once but twice by a close family friend, and molested and abused, and it's just, the whole situation is horrible, right? But the parents in it are, you want to talk about naive, okay? I mean, they are naive beyond, and just in their trust and belief and whatever, you know? And I think, like, I was thinking about it last night because so many people, there's a part in there at the very end where she's talking about, like, you know, her parents beat themselves up so hard in retrospect and whatever. And I think, you know, like, the mom says that people for years called us and said, like, how did you ever let her go again with him and whatever, you know? And, like, in watching the documentary, I'm not going to make excuses. I mean, these parents, they made horrific decisions. They did, right? And how they didn't see it a mile away is beyond me. But at the same time, it's like, I think when you are aiming to be a good person, that's one of my goals. You know, one of my goals in life, I've talked to my sponsor about, I've talked to my friends about, is that I want to be a good person. I want to be a better person. Like, I want to be somebody that my close friends or people that I'm around say, Peter is a really good person. You know, like, he really aims to be a good person. He tries to put out positivity out there in the world. You know, he tries to be of service to others and things like that. When you're trying to be, I think, a good person, and I'm sure there's many of you out there that relate to that. You want to be good parents. You want to be good siblings, good, you know, spouses, good children, good students, good workers. You know, when you want to be a good person, it's hard to set limits and boundaries. Because sometimes with limits and boundaries come things like being confrontational or having to set a limit that somebody doesn't like. And often in our lives, you know, like, this was something I had to learn, that if you're out there and you're sober, if you've never heard this before, because before I ever heard it, it was like in my face, right? When somebody said to me, you didn't get sober to be a doormat, you know? And, like, for me, that statement was so eye-opening because I was like, I've kind of been a doormat. I've allowed people to walk over me. And you're right, I didn't get sober for this. I got sober to stand up for myself, and I got sober to be strong and realize that I deserve good, and I'm worthy of good things in my life, and I'm worthy of, you know, having a good life, right? And I don't deserve to be walked over and to be a doormat, you know? I also had a friend of mine one time that said, and talking about a situation, you know, you have to lay down to get stepped over. I'm kind of like, I do believe that sometimes, you know, that, like, and not in super abusive situations. I think those are situations that you need to seek professional help and whatever. But, you know, in situations where it's like you just allow people to talk to you a certain way and whatever, and like I said again, and not in super, you know, abusive situations, but where it's like, I don't know if you just have like friends that let you like talk to you a certain way and put you down and joke, and they always go, well, I'm joking, you know, I'm joking. God, you gonna wear your hair like that? I'm joking, you know, and it's like, after a while, it kind of like really hurts your soul, you know? And it's interesting, like my friend Tanya and I always talk about this. It's like, as soon as you say something to those people, there's so many of you out there that when I say this are going to be like, yep, that's the truth. There are so many people out there that like, as soon as you say, like, you know, I don't think that's really funny. Like those statements that you make that you always say, I'm just joking, they like really hurt my feelings. All of a sudden they turn it on you and you're the bitch, right? Like, it's like, what's wrong with you? Like, I'm just like, you can't take a joke, like seriously? And then it's you that has the issue. No, it's not me that has the issue. It's you that's talking to me in an inappropriate way for being my friend, and I don't care for it, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore. So if you're going to continue to talk to me that way, you're not going to be in my life. So if you want the privilege of being in my life, talk to me like you feel like it's a privilege to be in my life. You know, one of the things that I say in my videos is that, because this is something I really realized in the last 5 to 10 years, you know, that who we give our time to in a day is so valuable. You know, that if it's whether we're watching a YouTube video or whether we're working with somebody or whether we're talking to somebody on the phone, that those are, you know, 60 seconds in a minute, you know, 60 minutes in an hour, you know, at 24 hours in a day, you know, 7 days in a week. All of that time adds up to a lifetime. So if you're going out to a 3-hour lunch with somebody that you really don't want to be sitting down to at lunch, and they're just complaining about their life, and all you're doing is checking in because you feel like you're trying to be the better person, and you're really not getting anything out of that relationship, and they're never asking you one question about yourself, what are you doing? Like, seriously, I'm asking you that, okay? And if you can't say to that person, like, I'm not really having fun. Like, I'm really sorry that you're having a horrible life and that you have for the last 10 years, and that every time when we have lunch once a month, I check in with you and I try to be a really good friend and I try to be supportive of you. But like, you've complained for 10 years about how bad your life is and it's not getting any better. And I don't think it's gonna get any better. And like, you've never once asked me, and I've been with 5 different boyfriends at this point, and you've never asked me what's going on with my life, and I don't really care for this restaurant that we go to, so what are we doing here, right? Like, if you can't get to that point, what are you doing with your life, right? Like, that's what I don't understand. And I just start asking myself that. I just start asking myself, why am I just throwing like days of my life away at things that don't matter to me? Like, they really don't, you know? And then I think what ends up happening as a result of that is guilt tripping comes in, you know? Well, I've been a good friend, or I've been a good brother, or I love you, and if you loved me the way that you do. Listen, my mother played that game with me for years and years and years, until the day I looked at her and I said, I'm not responsible for your happiness. You know, I was getting a master's degree, working a full-time job, I had an internship, you know, I was trying to spend time with my best friend and my boyfriend who I lived with at the time, and come see my mom 3 to 4 times a week while going to 4 to 5, you know, recovery meetings a week. And that wasn't enough for my mom. And I'll never forget, sitting right here in this living room, she said to me something about like, well, if you could just come and see your mom more, it would make her happy, you know, like always in third person. And I said, I'm not responsible for your happiness. And I was like, where did that come from? And she looked at me and she said, and thank God that I had the mother that I did. Because she looked at me and she said, do I make you feel that way? And I said, oh yeah, absolutely. And she goes, well, I don't want to make you feel that way. You know, so, you know, but like, there are a lot of parents out there that would say, yes, you are, or, you know, would make them guilt trip their kids even more, you know. I think it's hard. I think learning to set limits and boundaries means, to some degree, you have to be selfish enough to realize, I only have one life. And I have to realize, not at the expense of ruining marriages or ruining relationships with your parents or whatever like that, but, you know, to the extent that you realize that I have to make myself happy too, and I have to set some limits and boundaries with people that maybe are toxic in my life, or I have to stop giving days of my life away, and, you know, I have to stand up for myself and allow myself to set limits and boundaries that are fine for me, you know? I started doing that about 10 years ago. I started like, I wouldn't say that it was like conscious for me, at first. It wasn't like, okay, this person I'm getting rid of or whatever. Like, seriously, it wasn't conscious like that. It just was that, you know, I would say there were probably, I mean, I had a lot of people in my life at that point. Now I don't. And the people that I have in my life today are really, I would say, quality people that really care about me and are there for me. There were a lot of people in my life that I don't know, looking back in retrospect, that if I really needed something, that they would be there for me. And yet I consider them really close friends. And I think that's sad, you know, that I was willing to just give those people time, you know. I think one of the things we rarely do is we evaluate the relationships in our lives, you know. We just don't. I mean, in recovery you do. You look at the different relationships in your life through the lens of resentment. But just to look at a relationship like a friendship and say, like, is this friendship really like an important friendship to me? Or am I just holding on to it because I don't really have a lot of friends? Or am I just holding on to it because we have longevity and we have history together? But, you know, like, I think it's important at some point to ask yourself, like, maybe I need to join a book club. Maybe I need to join a volleyball club, you know? Maybe there are different ways for me to meet some other people, you know? A couple years ago, my dear friend Melissa, she got really, really involved in dog rescue stuff, and she started meeting all of these new people, and I'm like, you know, so happy for her, and she's really super involved in it today, and she's met all these new friends, and, you know, all that kind of stuff, and it's like, I think to have people that, like, come from where you come from and understand, like, your love and your passion for something, it's like, my friends that are in sobriety, like, it's like, I have a different relationship with them that I have with other people, you know? And I think it's cool, and I think sometimes we have to go outside of our comfort zone to meet those people, you know, and maybe start setting boundaries and limits with that, you know. Listen, we only get one time here on this earth, right? So make the most of it. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. I love you guys, and that was a long one today. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.